campus demonstrations that won't quit. Multiple protests underway tonight. Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson.
I'm Maurice Dubois. One day after police stormed Columbia University, demonstrators returned to the school tonight. Flares were seen as protesters waved the Palestinian flag and police stood nearby.
Meanwhile, outside City College, more demonstrations as people there accuse the NYPD of being too heavy-handed when they entered campus.
And at Fordham University's Manhattan campus, the Upper West Side here, police arrested 15 people today after the school deemed an encampment a threat. We have team coverage of all these protests. Alecia, Reid live at NYU, but we begin with Bauman live once again at Columbia tonight. Ali.
Maurice, a protest formed out here within the past hour or so outside of Hamilton Hall, which tonight remains an active crime scene. Mayor Adams and the NYPD say that outside agitators are to blame for how these protests have escalated, but demonstrators we spoke to say that discredits their message. A protest grows outside Columbia University's campus Wednesday night, while inside, students are moving out a week early after the administration said all final exams should be held remotely.
Campus is very quiet right now.
Cara Mende is a journalism student who was documenting on campus Tuesday night when NYPD officers went into Hamilton Hall to clear out pro-Palestinian demonstrators who had broken in and barricaded themselves in the academic building.
And I still feel a little bit distraught by what I saw yesterday.
NYPD body camera video obtained by CNN shows officers breach the building. Police released this edited video of officers clearing Hamilton Hall and the lawn encampment at the request of the administration.
There's nothing peaceful about barricading buildings, destroying property.
Officers took 109 people into custody at Columbia.
We were tackled and beaten. My hands were handcuffed so tightly that even lifting my pinky caused extreme harm.
It is very scary to have cops on campus, but I also think it was the necessary action.
In her request to the NYPD, Columbia's president said protesters not affiliated with the school led the occupation in Hamilton Hall.
That young people are being influenced by those who are professionals at radicalizing our children.
Senior police sources tell CBS 2 that of all the arrests at Columbia and City College Tuesday night, 27% are over the age of 30, and just over 10% have been arrested multiple times, mostly related to other protests. The NYPD pointed to videos of non-students joining campus protests, as well as shifting tactics among demonstrators as evidence of outside agitators. They also displayed a chain protesters used to lock doors, which police described as, quote, what professionals bring. Even though Columbia's public safety department offered what appears to be the same lock to students 4 years ago. Celeste Faison is executive director of Movement for Black Lives and a demonstration strategist in Harlem.
Historically, communities have always leaned internally to answer the moral question, what side are you on, right? And have always organized themselves internally to fight for the rights of other folks.
And the university says police will remain on campus until May 17th, which is 2 days after graduation. Now, earlier this morning, the NYPD said that they would have a count by the end of the day of how many protesters arrested here last night were students versus non-students. We've asked them repeatedly for that breakdown, and at this hour are still waiting. We're live in Morningside Heights. Ali Bauman, CBS 2 News.
Ali, thank you.
And students have been on the move all over the city.
A rally that started in Foley Square has now turned into a demonstration at NYU. That is where we find CBS 2's Alecia Reid. Alecia.
Good evening, Christine and Maurice. That's right. Hundreds of people came out to protest at several locations throughout the city. But one thing we know, they've all been peaceful so far. Right now, we're right outside NYU, where they've been rallying for several hours now. It all started at Foley Square, and protesters then marched to Washington Square Park and NYU, where there's an encampment outside the Paulson Center. In Harlem, organizers with the Colombian CUNY Gaza Solidarity solidarity encampments rallied with protesters. They claim hundreds of people were unjustly arrested last night, battered and bruised by law enforcement. Students from Columbia say the NYPD used excessive force and caused more property damage than people who were on campus protesting. They also shared disappointment with what they describe as the NYPD's mistreatment of people they were supposed to be protecting.
There was at least one incident that I myself witnessed in jail of a Muslim women's hijab taken, and the rest. But I should point out that all of the people who were in that jail were cheering, were screaming and calling on the police to give her back her hijab and to treat her humanely.
Protesters vow to continue rallying. They say right now it's about the victims in Gaza, but that all oppressed people should be liberated. We did reach out to the NYPD for comment on the accusations of excessive force. So far, we haven't heard back. Live in Greenwich Village, Alecia Reid, CBS 2 News.
Alecia, thank you. And on Long Island, students and police clashed at a protest at Stony Brook University today. An encampment was set up outside the Staller Center for the Arts. Students are demanding financial transparency, as they call it, and they want to know where their tuition dollars are going. School officials responded and said they have no direct investment in Israel. And while they support free speech, they say they need to also maintain security on campus.
We will watch the protests and the police presence at schools all across the area and, of course, keep you updated at cbsnewyork.com.